大家好，今天老师将带大家去学习 HSK 一课程。我们现在学的是 Beginners Level 的中文 ，Beginners Level Chinese。好，那我们一起学习。
Hello，欢迎大家来到我们的学习频道 Foreigners Mandarin Guide，我是孔老师。今天呢，我怀着无比激动的心情来迎接来自世界各地的你们，也欢迎朋友们在评论区告诉我你们分别来自哪些国家，我想认识一下大家。
第一课 Class One， 第一课你好，你好，你好 means hello， 你好。跟我读 read with me， 你好，你好 very good. Let's look at the picture. The person on the right says 你好 and the person on the left also says 你好。So when somebody says 你好 to you, your response is also 你好. Please note that in Chinese, it's very important that you try your level best to, as much as possible, imitate my pronunciations. Chinese is all about how you pronounce these words. If I say 你好 and you say 你好 or 你好, the word is completely different and it carries a different meaning. Let's read it together again. 你好, 你好. Very good. Now that we know how to say hello in Chinese, let us also learn some new words. 你, 你. It means you. 好, 好. It means good. 你好. Hello. Literally, you good? Okay. Let us move on to the next part of this conversation. Now, sometimes we may meet somebody that is respectable. If you say 你, it's probably to somebody that is your age or somebody you are well acquainted with. Now, what if you meet somebody whose age is much bigger than yours or whose status is much bigger than yours? In this case, we cannot say 你. It would be rude, but rather we would change that to 您. It's the polite and formal way and respectable way to say you. Just like sometimes in other languages, we have different ways to address the pronoun you. In Spanish, you can say usted to mean you formal or you in a respectable way. So Chinese also has a way of saying you that is very formal. 您, very good. It's also hello. The way we use it is the same. Pronounce it with me. 跟我读. 您好. Very good. Now, how about if people were very many? Maybe when you meet someone, you didn't just meet one person. Now, what would we say in this case? Very good. 你们好. Very good. 你们好. We add men in front of 你 to make it plural. Here, it means there are very many. We just add men in front of 你 and it means very many people. Okay. Now, we still have two more words that are very important in Chinese. 对不起is a very formal way of saying sorry. In most times, when we're speaking to somebody in 口语, in spoken languages, we usually just say 抱歉. Its meaning is also the same as 对不起. But for the sake of this lesson, let's put our focus on 对不起 because it's the very first word that we learn in HSK. 对不起 means to be sorry. I'm sorry. 对不起 I'm sorry. I came late. 对不起我来晚了. I'm sorry. Maybe you stepped on somebody. 对不起 And the person will reply you with, what will they say? Very good. 没关系,没关系.没关系 means no problem. It's okay. So when somebody says 对不起 to you, your response is 没关系,没关系. Very good. Now, sometimes people will ask, how many times in Chinese do we usually use the greeting 你好? These are the three usages of 你好. If we want to say hello to a stranger or someone we are not too familiar with, we can say 你好, 你好. Do you remember? What if it's more than one person? How would you say it? Very good. 你们好, 你们好. Now, what about if it was somebody very respectable? Very good. 您好, 您好. Okay, now the other usage of this word is if we want to call for somebody's attention. Maybe you want to speak something, to say something to someone, and you want to call for their attention. Imagine yourself seated in a restaurant and the waiter is facing the other side. You want to call on to him before you can make your order. How would you call the person? You don't know their name. And sometimes it's rude to just call them waiter. So how do we call this person? Very good. 你好, 你好. And then you say what you want to say. And then the third usage is when we want to start up a conversation, especially with somebody we are not too familiar with. Maybe you've met the person before, but you still feel like you want to keep the conversation respectable. So you would start with 你好 and then say what you want to say. 老师,你好. Very good. Let us move on to 汉字与拼音, characters and pinyin. Now, literally, the word pinyin itself means read sounds. In English, we have different sets of alphabetical letters that we join together to come up with pronunciations. When you see a word, you can definitely pronounce it as long as you know the rules of how to read in English. But knowing how to read the word cannot guarantee that you know what the word means. Now, English is a language of reading words. In other words, it's easier for people to read the words, but it's not guaranteed people will always know what the words mean. But Chinese is different. Chinese is a language of pictures. They use pictures as an art to represent objects. And that is what we have as Chinese characters. In other words, in most cases, when you look at a character, if you know how to spot out the outstanding features, you can easily tell what it means. But you may not necessarily know how to read it. And that's where the pinyin comes in. Pinyin is simply a system of letters used to help us know how to read the characters. And when we're reading the characters, we have to know what to look out for, how to write it, and how to pronounce it. And all of these we are going to see in this lesson. Now, Chinese is a very interesting language. You can see here that the images used to represent the objects look a lot like the original objects. For example, the sun or the eye or the tree. Maybe in a different dynasty, it was written in a different way. And after some time, the scholars of a different dynasty decided to change it. And that's how characters kept on evolving to what we know and see today as the current Chinese characters. Very good. Now, let us look at the characters we focused on in today's lesson. 你, 你, you, a person standing next to this object. And this is how the character evolved. 好, is simply a lady holding up a baby. If somebody has given birth to a son, of course it's a good thing. We have a next generation, and also the son in ancient China was considered to be the heir. So it's a very good thing.